Welcome back to the show today. We are talking about money in the NBA, and sort of money in sports in general, really. For a very long time, people hated rich owners that had teams in big markets, because they would buy any good player as soon as they proved themselves. Every sports fan would be heartbroken when their favorite player would go play for the Cowboys or the New York Yankees. I mean, that's still the way it is for the Yankees, but we'll get to that. Then, the NBA created a salary cap in 1984, and the NFL created a salary cap in 1994. So money can't buy success anymore, unless, of course, you're an MLB team. They don't have a salary cap. If you want a World Series in baseball, it's going to cost you around $300 million. But unfortunately, you still might not even win. And maybe you're wondering, well, if the NBA has a salary cap, the wealth of the owner doesn't really matter. The salary cap, or the payroll limit, is directly in correlation with how much money the league makes. So every owner is guaranteed to have enough money to meet the salary cap. Well, yes, that is true if we are talking about the NFL, who has a hard salary cap. So they can't spend a dime more than that salary cap on their payroll. But rich owners in the NBA are in luck because they have a soft salary cap, meaning that you can go over the salary cap, but only under certain conditions. So if assembling a Super Bowl winning team in the NFL is an art form, and assembling a World Series winning team is a financial transaction, winning the NBA Finals would be somewhere in the middle. So let's take a look at some of the past couple NBA champions. Let's see if they bought those championships. Let's talk about the Boston Celtics payroll, the team that won the finals last year. Did the Boston Celtics have the highest payroll in the league last year? Let me look it up real quick. No, they actually didn't. They had the 5th highest payroll in the league last year. They were around $23 million less than the Golden State Warriors, who had the highest payroll. Which sounds like a lot of money, but really it's not. Consider it like Draymond Green's salary. But the Celtics paid a lot of money to have a good team, right? They spent close to what the Golden State Warriors did on their team. No, actually that's not true at all. Because when we're talking about payroll, we're only talking about the checks that are being cut for individual players. There's another check that NBA teams have to write on payday. That would be their luxury tax bill. So going over the salary cap isn't that big of a deal. So what? You're gonna pay your guys a little extra. They're your guys. Who cares? You love them. Well, no, because the longer you're over the salary cap, the more luxury tax you're gonna pay. And the Warriors last year had been over the salary cap for so many seasons that their tax bill was $176 million. Their luxury tax bill was more than the entire payroll of most NBA teams. Joe Lacob was losing money on a team that didn't even make the playoffs. So the Boston Celtics right now are in the good years of their roster. They're winning championships. Everyone is getting paid. The vibes are really good. But the Celtics luxury tax bill is starting to creep up on them quickly. But next year, their luxury tax bill is going to explode. It's projected to go from $53 million, which is what it is right now, to $219 million. That's over a 4 times increase. That's going to be by far the most expensive team of all time. Their team is looking like it's going to cost $500 million. No wonder Wyc Grousbeck is selling the team. He might not even be able to afford his payroll and his luxury tax bill. That's why he's selling to someone like Jeff Bezos or Jeffrey Lurie, someone who isn't necessarily buying the team to return a profit. There are 2 reasons that the Celtics tax bill is growing exponentially. The first reason is simple addition. The Celtics have been over the tax line for 3 of the last 4 years, meaning they are in the repeat offender tax bracket, causing every luxury tax dollar that they spend to go up by another dollar. The next reason is multiplication, because every $5 million a team goes over the tax line, the price of a luxury tax dollar multiplies. So now with Jason Tatum, Derek White, Sam Hauser all signing extensions last year, those extensions are kicking in, and that payroll is going to spike more than any team's payroll has spiked in NBA history. Porzingis signed a huge contract 2 years ago. Jaylen Brown signed the biggest contract in NBA history in 2023. So there is a price to having a good team where everyone's happy because they're well compensated. And the Grousbecks can't pay that price. They don't have enough money. So they're selling the team to the only type of person that does, a literal oligarch. But the real winner in all this is the Grousbecks. They're gonna sell the team for 10x what they paid for it. They got to make the Celtics players richer than any other team could have made them. They won a championship and they're getting out before that luxury tax bill kicks in. That's just good business, baby. Over the last 5 years, the Warriors have had either the first or second most expensive payroll in the league. But they haven't always had to be big spenders, because in 2015, the first year they won the championship, their payroll was pretty low. They didn't even have one player that was on a max contract. For reference, the highest paid player in the league was Kobe Bryant at $23 million a year. The highest paid player on the Warriors was David Lee. He was getting $15 million. Steph made $10 million that year, Klay made $3 million, and Draymond Green didn't even make $1 million. Meanwhile, the Knicks had the 5th highest payroll in the league, and they finished with the 2nd worst record in the league. They didn't make the playoffs. They stopped. So you don't have to be the most spendy organization to assemble a championship winning team. As a matter of fact, in 2013-2014, the Spurs won the championship, and their payroll was the 19th most expensive in the league. They were barely going over the salary cap. They didn't pay any luxury tax either. And Kobe was making $30 million as the highest paid player in the league that year. The highest paid Spur was Tony Parker at $12.5 million million. That's less than half of what Kobe was making. The Spurs were just really well constructed. Ginobili was on a team-friendly deal at $7 million. Kawhi was on his rookie contract. He wasn't even making $2 million. So the Spurs are evidence that it's about finding players you believe in and making them better, making sure that those players can fit into your system and be impactful. While other teams in the league were out looking for big stars who ended up costing them big money and ultimately made an incompatible team, the Spurs were out looking for players to make a whole team. So we need to talk about one of the most expensive NBA teams of all time. This team proves that money can't win championships. I'm talking about the 2012-2013 Los Angeles Lakers. You know the ones. Kobe, Nash, Dwight, Pau Gasol. That was the most expensive team in the NBA that year by far. The Buss family was $30 million into the luxury tax, and at the time, that was insane. Kobe was making $27 million a year. Dwight and Pau were making 19. Nash and Metta World Peace were making 8 and 9 apiece. But hey, can you put a price on Kobe Bryant's last ring? No, I guess you can't, because that team sucked. Nash and Dwight were the new additions to the team. Nash was 38 years old at the time, but the Lakers signed him to a large and pretty lengthy contract anyway. And he hurt his knee pretty early in the season and he only played 50 games. Still a pretty efficient season though, not that it matters. Then Dwight was acquired in a 4-team trade from the Orlando Magic. But Dwight was coming off a back surgery and he did not have the explosiveness that got him those DPOY trophies. Plus, Kobe didn't like him. He thought he was lazy and a little bit stupid. The Lakers lost all 8 of their preseason games, but hey, there was the preseason. But then they lost 4 out of their first 5 games, causing them to fire head coach Mike Brown, and then hire Mike D'Antoni, who didn't have much luck with the Lakers either. The Lakers ended up being 7th in the West and getting swept in the first round of the playoffs by the San Antonio Spurs. Then Dwight became a free agent that summer and he left for Houston. I can only assume to get away from Kobe. And Nash played 1 more season with the Lakers, only playing 15 games and not making the playoffs. So money really isn't the best way to win a championship. It's really no excuse for not winning a championship either. The Suns and the Timberwolves have the highest payrolls in the league right now, and neither of those teams are very good. The Clippers have had the most expensive payroll or the second most expensive payroll in the league over the last 10 years, and they've barely seen the Western Conference Finals 1 time. Meanwhile, the Thunder this year have the 5th lowest payroll in the league. They're not paying any luxury tax, and they're 11 games ahead of the 2nd seed in the West. So paying a player a little bit extra because he fits with your system is a good reason to go into the luxury tax. But going into the luxury tax for a player or players who are going to save your team usually doesn't end up in a championship. Sometimes doesn't even end up in the playoffs, excluding the Miami Heat in 2012 and 2013. If it's a 29-year-old LeBron James that you're adding, then go ahead and do it. Or Kevin Durant in 2016, but those are a bit different circumstances, and you can go ahead and do it then too. But if it's Kevin Durant in 2023, that's a different story. All right, thank you for being here. This was, I don't think this was a suggestion. This was a selfish video. I did this one for me. Like the video anyway. People have been liking the videos and the channel's doing well, so thanks. Leave a suggestion though. I'll do it. I'll reply to every comment. Be good to your mom. Eat a corn dog.